Commandment number 4. This is no bueno. This cannot exist. This is unacceptable. All this dust and crap on the top of these cones and on the top of the tool pockets is going to cause, you see, come here. The only reason that these are clean is because they get grabbed a lot. So look, all this stuff, it gets in the inside housing of the spindle and it wears out the cone and the spindle because there's nowhere for it to go. So this is one of the most common things that happens in shops that is a problem, because it'll also wear out the end of your tool collet that's inside the spindle when it goes to grab the tool, because it's got all that crap in there over time. Okay. So you can imagine if you got bad air, right? It's low, and you got dust, and you got a little bit of humidity. When you get a little bit of humidity in the air system and the spindle goes to push out the tool, and then it goes to grab the tool, there's less volume for the air to actually expand and contract, right? Like when you're pushing a bellow, right? That's pushing air into a fireplace. You have less volume inside that bellow. You're going to push less air with less force. Less air and less force. So what'll happen is it won't grab the tool properly. It'll grab it well enough to do the job and to trip the sensor to tell it it's okay. But sometimes when it pushes the tool out, it got the sensor, but the tool's still stuck in there because of the grit made of vacuum with the heat. And then the machine thinks that the tool's in there, and it rips out the tool pocket when it lifts its head up again. This whole time you're beating up the inside of the spindle and the gripper, the pedal collet. So what do I recommend? Spray WD-40 on a rag. Wipe these suckers down once or twice a day, or at least the ones that you're going to be working with in the day. You know, obviously, if you're not using 75% of the tools, you're going to spend your whole day cleaning up. It depends how much dust is being produced. I'm guessing that because this is a new shop, there's been some stuff done by hand, dust, probably a little bit of cement in the area from when you guys are cutting trench drains and whatnot. So wipe these guys down. These have to be immaculate, especially the heart of your machine. So what is the heart of your machine? We're on commandment number 4, which is keeping the tools. Okay, that's spindle too. There's dust and stuff that we can't even see that's just floating up in there. So I wipe down every day, twice a day. I wipe down the inside of the spindle with a rag that's got some WD-40. And I wipe down my main tools that I'm working with, which is always my core drill bit, my finger bit, my milling tool, my Super Z, and my eased edge set, because there's nothing more that I'm doing than opening up sinks and polishing on this machine. And then the finger bit's going to do the radius work on the exterior edges, and then my common profile sets that I'm going to use for the outside edges, right? Which would be like maybe 1 or 2 profile sets. Keep all those tools clean every day, and you will never have problems. You have long life on the spindle. You won't have tool change issues. You won't have headache. You put all these 5 commandments together, which we still got the last one, which is over on the computer. It's actually here and the computer. Do you have a dial caliper? So, thank you. So this is extremely important, keeping the tops of the cones clean. A lot of people say, well, why does Poseidon not have like a clamshell that opens up and closes? I'll tell you why. Because in my experience, having put my hands on all the machines in the industry that had little things like that, what happens is there's a pneumatic air cylinder, right? That the air cylinder, it needs a lot of air to open and close the clamshell, number 1. Number 2, it's taken away from the air supply to the vacuum and the other parts on the machine when it's doing a tool change, when you got the air. Number 3, the little cylinders, when they come out, in and out constantly, you got dust from the environment, lands on those air cylinders, wears out the seals. They end up getting stuck sometimes. The clamshell trips the sensor to open, but it doesn't close it properly, or it closes on one side. The sensor doesn't read it for whatever reason. It gets stuck. The machine comes, crashes into the clamshell. Makes the clamshell crooked, bends the tool rack sometimes. And at the end of the day, you know what? It's not airtight. The dust gets on the cones anyway. So people think because they have a clamshell, they don't have to do any manual upkeep. At the end of the day, the dust still lands on the cones, still gets dirty. Now you just have an extra component to worry about